We are Youth Space Fife. We've been invited by the R&A Golf Museum to film a short documentary on the history of golf and to voice our thoughts on the sport as young people living in Fife. Here are our previous conceptions about golf.
That one time I went golfing with my dad is really specific in my mind. It was fun, yeah.
Golf with friends on the Xbox.
Ball. I mean, genuine, ball.
The game, golf.
That's crazy.
The fact that my stepdad goes golfing quite a lot.
Polo shirt, hoodie wrapped around.
A golf ball. A golf ball, yeah. Fair enough.
Honestly, I don't know a lot about golf, so a lot of things about golf, like, what the words mean.
How to play golf.
Play golf successfully, maybe. I hope so. I really hope so. I've never played it.
Golf apparently went from being like a people's sport to being a sport that the first thing I can think of when I think about how it's portrayed in media is a Murder, She Wrote episode where the bad guy plays golf.
Yes.
Like, I want to know how it changed that quickly.
Probably how old it is, because I know it's old.
Probably about the upkeep of the green. Mm-hmm. I really like plants, essentially, and learning about grass, I find that stuff interesting, so... Middle-aged white men.
Yeah.
Golf is a sport where everyone is welcome, because I feel like it's not the most inclusive sport. I mean, I know they're pushing for more than now, but the opens are still classified as men's and women's, so what do non-binary people do?
Yeah.
Where am I gonna go, dog?
I guess most people could probably do it, because like you could, if you're in a wheelchair, you could be like in a wheelchair.
Trans debate, well, the quote unquote the trans debate, like it's a debate about women should be allowed in women's sports, essentially.
No.
No.
I could do golf, yes. They used to call me the golf guy.
Golf has a very large barrier to entry when it comes to money, because you need to get the golf clubs, you need to
get the bags of caddies,
You need to employ time for it. You also need to have people around you that are willing to play golf with you.
The demographic is pretty much like rich old people.
Except Crazy Golf, which is fully open season.
The best.
Yeah,
just the best.
We spoke to golfing professionals about their opinions on golf. Here's what they had to say.
The thing about golf is you don't need to love golf to just love the people that you meet in it. The people, the places you get to go in this sport are incredible, and that's what I really like doing the most. And I've been very fortunate to travel to golf events all over the world and meet a lot of fascinating people. And St Andrews is such a magnet. You meet so many people that come through here, and here we are doing that today, so it's great.
When I joined here, didn't really know anything about golf, didn't really want to know anything about golf. I thought it was kind of like my dad's sport, but actually since joining here I've decided to pick up lessons. So I've just found it so inspiring with the work that we do that I now want to learn myself.
Absolutely give it a go, because it's good fun, and the feeling when you do hit it well is just fabulous, and that never leaves. It doesn't matter how long you've been playing the game, it never leaves. It's just always with you when you hit that sweet shot, and that's the time you say, okay, I'm going home now.
Well, greenkeeping has been going as long as golf's been going, because obviously they've always needed somebody to look after the grass, so you're going back to the early 1800s, but it's become much more advanced certainly in the last 10 years, but even the last 30 years. But now things have changed so much. I mean, you get robotic mowers that operate themselves with a driver sitting in the seat. John's got some things here that you can test the moisture levels in the ground.
I got into the big debate of Scotland versus Holland as the origins of golf. And when I started, British historians, such as they were, mostly London-based, had really given up and handed over the origins of golf to the Dutch, and the Dutch were delighted to be credited with inventing golf. And the more I looked at it, the more the evidence was bad. Their evidence was bad. So I came to the conclusion that it was in Scotland that the game started, probably in Shinty, the Gaelic game of the Highlands, where they had simple sticks and balls, and I believe it was Shinty, simple stick, simple ball, simple wood ball, evolved into the modern game in Scotland alone. So I was noisy about that, and I think I've won the argument over the years. So Europe is on the defensive, I'm glad to say.
The Open is the oldest, one of the oldest sporting professional championships in the world, and the oldest golfing professional championship in the world, and it is the most prestigious. It's 163 years old now this year, 151 playings when we go to Hoylake in a few weeks' time, and throughout that time has been all of the great champions almost who've played, you know, the game of golf ever, really. So with that comes prestige as it builds and builds, and you know, with the AIG Women's Open, it's had a shorter lifespan, but as it continues to build and build, it will eventually reach that sort of same prestige. But that's what makes the Open so special, is firstly that it's history and its heritage, but also the Open is true to its name. Anybody can try and qualify for the Open. I've tried myself, I've failed, but some people have made it all the way through to the Open, and you know, it's their dream to play in the Open, and for the top players it's their dream to win the Open. So whoever gets their hands on their claret jug at the end of the week is always the happiest person, and the champion golfer of the year is what they're called. So it doesn't get much better than that for a player.
That's a brilliant question. How big is Big Man Tom Morse? About 5'5". You know,
he's my height.
Yeah, absolutely. They all were relatively small in those days. He was the creator of the original championship course, the Open Championship course at Prestwick. He won the Open Championship 4 times. He's still the largest margin of victory by 12 shots, and he's still the oldest winner of the Open, and he's the only father ever to come second to his son. So he was best player in the world, at his peak. But then he, in his twilight years, started designing golf courses. So he set that model of the professional who retires and then starts making golf courses, and he designed over 100 courses. So you can see how his knowledge is both the player and the designer of the courses, so it's 360 degrees. So that's why people called him the grand old man of golf, because he knew everything there was to know about golf. So that's why he is so brilliant, and that's why, you know, I write about him and others write about him, because he just was so fantastic.
I've been very lucky because I grew up in such a small club up north. It was a mixed club that welcomed everybody. It was a family club. There was a lot of families playing. So mums, dads and children, and everybody accepted everybody. So I think I was very lucky with my introduction to golf, because there were no barriers and everybody welcomed you onto the course and everybody chatted when you went back to the clubhouse. So in that way, I think my start in golf was really positive.
Himalaya's putting green that women's golf started in the 1860s, and it was from St Andrews that women's golf became popular and spread throughout Britain.
And that image of men, you know, white men in blazers is partly true. I mean, you'll go to a lot of golf clubs and you'll see that. But I think that it's changed. I think it's changed really rapidly in the last sort of 10, 15 years. And I think there's an awful lot more to it than that. And so, you know, our job is partly to help people see past the stereotype. But I don't think that it kind of helps anyone, least of all the R&A, for us to pretend that it doesn't exist. It does. I think you've got to acknowledge that, because there are a lot of men that play. I think often a lot of women aren't daft enough to go out in some of the weather that suddenly we have in golf in Scotland. I think that's part of it. But, you know, I think that it's still a male-dominated sport. But you can genuinely, I think we can genuinely say, hand on heart, that more has been done in the last 5 to 10 years to get women into golf than has ever happened in the previous 600 years of the sport. And that's got to be a step in the right direction. And I think, you know, that will improve and change over time. But you're right. I mean, there's still plenty of blazers around.
When our project concluded, we re-evaluated our opinions on golf. Here's what we discussed.
Weird how much people like golf. I saw it was like, wow, this is really like a thing that people are really into. We've got a whole community.
So I think the clear answer is set up more golf places that are like bowling places.
We need professional crazy golfers.
The first thing that
that catch to my eye was this book. And I went over to it when we were allowed to go over to stuff, and it was like this old rule book thing, and it was really cool. And
that's really cool, like a way to commemorate their victories and that.
I liked Big Man Morris's statue.
I kept trying to get a hole in one. Please, can you just go in the hole? It was so fun.
I found it quite intimidating, the space, especially like, in the club. Like the workers were all very nice and stuff, but the actual golfers didn't want to look at us, dirty children.
They gave off the vibe.
At first I sucked at it, but then he told me some advice like, don't put my shoulders up when I'm about to hit it, because then it'll just go in the air and not go that far. I hit the 150 mark and hit the sign.
Okay, but at the beginning I kept hitting more, I hit the AstroTurf more than the actual ball at the beginning of it, but eventually got the hang of it, so that was quite fun.
You just walk around on grass, and then you just like hit a ball and you're like, whoa, and then you walk around on grass. It's like the whole thing, but I've found that there's a lot more to it. You hit things too, and that's pretty good. It was actually really fun. I think I really enjoyed it.
The way that you hit it, and you can literally feel like the wind around the golf club like follow it. I was like, that's like really good tactile feedback.
At first, I didn't have any opinion really on golf. Ever since like today now, I'm just gonna be looking at golf stuff probably every day.
While some of us may not return to the golf course, we have certainly learned a lot about the world of golf, and it has been an eye-opening experience.
That's legit all I have to say is Big Man Morris.